As much as I enjoy playing retro games every once in a while, there's a new game that gets me excited to the point that it isn't even an afterthought that it's a must-have. I recently purchased Fatal Fury City of the Wolves and have put in close to 37 hours of playtime with it, so I think it's safe to say I'm enjoying it enough to make it my latest recommendation. Fatal Fury as a series has been around since 1991 and first made its debut on both the Neo Geo arcade and home console. It has been almost 26 years since the last game in the series released, and I honestly never thought I would see the series return. A quick fun fact about Fatal Fury is that it was originally created by the same person who created Street Fighter. His name is Takashi Nishiyama, and he was poached by SNK not long after the release of the first Street Fighter. Fatal Fury City of the Wolves is a continuation of the last game known as Garou Mark of the Wolves, which at the time was essentially a reboot of the series. Many believe it was SNK's attempt at competing with Street Fighter 3, as there were certain mechanics in Mark of the Wolves that felt somewhat similar. City of the Wolves is, in my opinion, the best looking game out of the 4 titles that SNK has released using their new 3D art style. Everything looks incredibly well done. Some have said that the character art design favors Shinkiro, a concept artist that worked for years at SNK, providing a great deal of cover art and posters for Neo Geo games. I definitely agree with this observation. It really does look eerily close to what Shinkiro created back in the 90s. I really like the shading they chose for clothing textures. The animation has tremendously improved compared to the previous game, and to me the biggest thing that really makes this game pop is the graphic effects. They are just wonderful to look at, and they mesh great with the characters. The single player modes for City of the Wolves are just okay in my opinion. I'm not as interested as I used to be in single player now that online modes are available. I did take a quick look at the story mode known as Episodes of Southtown. It's meant to play sort of like an RPG where you level up your character and have some dialogue with cast members. I didn't go too deep in the weeds with this mode. I feel like they could have done more with it, but I honestly didn't expect much. Street Fighter 6 has pretty much become the standard for single player, but to be fair, I really don't think anyone was expecting Capcom to go that far. I was interested in the arcade mode, which is a much faster way to get story beats for your characters. I really wanted to see the outcome of the main protagonist's storyline, which sadly didn't live up to my expectations. It had the potential to be so much more given the cliffhanger they left it on in the previous game. Definitely a bit of a letdown there. Many of the mechanics have returned in City of the Wolves. There is the very popular Just Defend mechanic where if you time your block right before an attack from your opponent lands, you get a small bit of energy back on your life gauge as a result. There's also the return of TOP known as SPG, where you choose a section of your life bar, and once you hit that section during a match, it unlocks additional mechanics. The new system mechanic for City of the Wolves is known as Rev. It is basically supposed to work like revving a motorcycle engine. Don't overthink it. You are given access to Rev mechanics from the beginning of the round, and as you use these mechanics through the round, the gauge increases. Once the gauge hits 100%, you overheat and you won't have access to the mechanics for a small period of time. The Rev mechanic that I'm really happy about is Rev Excel. This lets you cancel special moves into other special moves. It's a mechanic that has been used in other SNK fighting games before, and I personally enjoy it. If you're looking for a fighting game that has a decent skill ceiling, then I think this game will fit the bill. The feint system has returned, and it definitely requires some serious execution to master. I've already seen so much creativity with how players are using the feint system to create more damage. I don't know if I'll ever get to that level, but it certainly looks nice to look at. The online mode has been pretty good so far. I haven't come across too many hiccups during matches. Finding matches has definitely not been a problem. There's an option that allows you to wait in the training room during the match search, and I don't really get to do much training, so that should tell you how fast matches are coming up currently. The online ranking system unfortunately needs some improvements. At the moment, you can rank up using any character, and this really doesn't give much incentive to continue after you reach the highest rank. SNK has acknowledged this, and they are planning to make major changes to ranking, though it's going to be a bit of a wait, so personally, I'm sticking to casual for now. Now, as much as I've enjoyed the game thus far, there are definitely other things that need improving. For whatever reason, the animated backgrounds in City of the Wolves are choppy. The train level is probably the most egregious of them all. They have essentially run these backgrounds at half the frame rate, and I just don't understand why the developers were fine with this. I also had an odd occurrence with the replay mode where specific matches didn't quite seem to play out like it was meant to. SNK has confirmed that this is an issue and they are working on a fix. I'll be honest in saying that I'm a bit torn on how offensive this game is. City of the Wolves, like other fighting games these days, are really focused on offense. There's a pretty big penalty for defending too much as it can cause you to overheat. With that being said, there are some defensive options like a guard push that I haven't quite gotten used to, so while I'm currently on the fence about defense, this feeling may change with time. I'm disappointed that there are 2 characters in the game that are based on real life characters, and it's not that I wouldn't mind having real life characters if they were, people who could actually fight. I know some may be enjoying the characters, and that to me is just an indication of how good SNK is when it comes to making fighting games, but as far as I'm concerned, it was a big waste of resources. In terms of the platform, I went with the Steam version on PC. The game is definitely not super demanding. During the beta, I played the game using the A380, and it ran with no problem. I did run into one issue with my gaming PC where searching for matches did not work at all, but it turned out to be the latest driver for my network adapter that was the culprit. I really do believe that bringing back Fatal Fury has paid off for SNK. There was a time where I thought it would make absolutely no sense to bring the franchise back, and I'm glad to say that I was wrong. There were characters that I really missed playing with from the previous game, and I really forgot just how much fun I had playing with some of them. SNK have said that they are planning to bring back every Fatal Fury character. I'm definitely not going to hold them to that. If they manage to make that happen, I believe it would help the life cycle of this game immensely. I'm already looking forward to the first season of characters, though the launch characters are more than enough to keep me occupied for now. If you enjoy traditional fighting games, then I do recommend picking up City of the Wolves. Full disclosure here, I'm very much a fan of SNK fighting games. Actually, I'm a fan of SNK games in general. I'm hopeful that SNK can get back to where they were in the 90s, and City of the Wolves really feels like they are finally on the right track to getting there. If you are enjoying my recommended game choices, please be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing, as I will be back with more recommendations in the future. For now, this is the Core, your resident entertainment techie, signing out.